Good evening. We'll get our meeting started. Members of the public are encouraged to submit written comments. They're encouraged to participate in the meeting by accessing the webcast at www.cityofclovis.com/agendas. 2, providing written comments at the same website. 3, participating by phone. Or 4, coming to the City Council meeting in person. I'll call this meeting to order, and our flag salute will be led by pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Ashbeck? Here. Councilmember Monitor?
Here.
Councilmember Whalen?
Here.
Mayor Flores?
I'm here.
And Councilmember Bessinger is absent.
Okay. First order of business, public comments. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on any matter within the City Council's jurisdiction that is not listed on the agenda. In order for everyone to be heard, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less, or 10 minutes per topic. Anyone wishing to be placed on the agenda for a specific topic should contact the City Manager's office and submit correspondence at least 10 days before the desired date of appearance. Anyone wishing to be heard today, public comments on items not listed on the agenda. I see Steve Trevino back there. You want to come on up? Just press the button that looks like a face with lines coming out of the mouth. That's the button that looks lines, like vibrations coming out of the mouth.
Yeah, my name is Steve Trevino. I live at 1663 Bullard. It's between Sunnyside and Fowler. The reason I'm here today, I'm very concerned about the amount of traffic that's between Sunnyside and Fowler, but basically during the morning hours, the school hours, and the times in the morning and times in the afternoon. And I've spoken to many of the people, my neighbors, and it seems like the traffic, the speed limit is 40 miles an hour. And I know that many of the people that drive by aren't going 40 miles an hour. They must be going a lot faster than that. And it seems like with time, because I've lived here my whole life, there seems to be more and more traffic along Bullard. And it seems to me, I'm really concerned because there's a lot of children that are going to Clovis High School and are coming the opposite way to Clark. And there's a lot of kids on bicycles, and many of us were backing up into Bullard, and sometimes we're looking, it takes us 5 to 10 minutes just to leave our driveway. And then not only that, but we have a lot of pedestrians. And many times, some of them are children on bicycles. And you know, I'm a retired truck driver, and usually when you back up, you look over here. You normally don't look over here. And sometimes, I've spoken to other of my neighbors, and they've been many near misses of kids and people on bicycles, and this has been going on for quite a while. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but it just seems like it's going to get worse and worse. And the only solution I can think of maybe is lowering the speed limit. The speed limit right now is 40 miles an hour. You know, and then we also have a lot of bicycle riders. And I wish there was a bike lane, but I don't know if that would make sense or not, because a lot of people park their cars along Bullard Avenue. And I wanted to make another point, if I could.
Sure.
Saturday morning, I went out to breakfast, maybe by 8 o'clock, and I noticed across the street there's a pond basin, and there was some debris across the street. I said, wow. So I come back, maybe it's 10 o'clock, 10:30. And I noticed it wasn't debris; it was a man asleep on the sidewalk. And I thought to myself, was he asleep or is he dead? So I called the police. And And some time went by, they never came. And they sent me some text messages saying that it was really important, you know. And I called back and I said, you know what, I don't think I just saw the guy move, so I guess he's not dead. And then the guy got up, but I was really surprised because I've lived here my whole life. And anytime I've called the Clovis police, they've always come. And that's one of the very few times that they never have. And I'm kind of disappointed because maybe that man could have been dead. I don't know, you know. But anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I think Bullard there between Fowler and Clovis has, especially during the school hours when parents are dropping off kids or at Clark, at Clovis High, and at all these schools that are in between, they do not respect the speed limit, and it's a racetrack there. And it's possibly because from that point on, it's still a 4-laner, and right between Sunnyside and Clovis Avenue becomes a 2-laner. So because it's 2 lanes, it does have a calming effect. But between Sunnyside and Fowler, it's a zoo, especially during those peak hours. And I can't say anything about that individual. Anyone else wishing to comment on public comment? Something that's not on the agenda.
Pardon me?
Is it an item not on the agenda?
No, I'm not on your calendar right now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a little upset, and I've been upset for a while. Livid. I would consider myself livid right now.
Can you give us your name, please?
My name is Karen Taylor, and I don't know my Native American name or any of my history. We are Cherokee, Eastern Band. We were located in what is called Reston, Virginia. And there's a few things that I want to bring to your attention and address today. First and foremost is these 2 statues, the one with the little boy down here by the law school, the little boy getting his 1 shoestring tied by the man with GL asses on. The second is the statue down the way with the horse, and I don't want to get into the details of how I see that statue, but I feel those statues need to come down, and I want to be there when they come down, and I want to see those statues destroyed because of what I believe those statues stand for. I have a case coming up pretty soon, and I have noticed that there is tours being taken and people are being shuttled by those statues. And if those are prospective jurors, I want those statues taken down, and I want my new prospective jurors to see things from our perspective, We were driven here on what's called the Cherokee Trail of Tears. I don't know who named that, but there was a lot of abuse. We lost a lot of people upon Christopher Columbus's arrival, and we lost a whole lot more during the winter months and the inclement weather, sicknesses, and so forth. My mother said that the only thing that the Cherokees had a problem with so far as their health was rickets, which I believe is from a lack of vitamin C. I don't know much. I didn't look it up last night, but she said that was their health problem, was rickets. President Zachary Taylor, his name is spelled Z-A-C-H. The late President Zachary Taylor, his name is spelled C-A-C-H-E-R-Y. When my grandfather, Willie Dale Taylor, a descendant of President Zachary Taylor, died, I believe we first took him to the St. Agnes Hospital. I believe the ambulance first took him to the St. Agnes Hospital, where they didn't do anything for him, and he was transferred to the Fresno Community Hospital, where his death certificate, his father's name was written as simply Zachariah Taylor, Z-A-C-H-E-R-I-A, Taylor, not Zachary Taylor. It was changed to a Greek spelling. We're in a state that is a Greek spelling. We are not Greek. My sisters and I are Native American Cherokee.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for your
Okay, one more couple things.
You need to wrap it up here.
Yes, I will. I would like a discrimination suit when I approach the bench. I don't want Judge F''AIN as seated in Fresno to oversee my case. Also, we would like our DNA copyrights, which are being held by the country of China. We would like to have those. And the late President Zachary Taylor died in England, where the Queen of England stole our master deed to our country, and we would want that back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to make a public comment that's not on the agenda? Okay. Well, anyone on the web?
No, no one on the web. The only other correspondence we received was a written comment that was submitted to the council regarding backyard chickens.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, ordinances and resolutions. With respect to the approval of resolutions and ordinances, the reading of the title shall be deemed a motion to waive a reading of the complete resolution or ordinance. And unless there is a request by the council that the resolution or ordinance be read in full, further reading of the resolutions or ordinance shall be deemed waived by unanimous consent of the council. Consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are to be placed on the consent calendar. They will all be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member requests individual consideration. Council members' vote in favor of the consent calendar is considered and recorded as a separate affirmative vote in favor of each action listed. Motions in favor of adoption of the consent calendar are deemed to include a motion to waive the reading of any ordinance or resolutions on the consent calendar. For adoption of ordinances, only those that have received a unanimous vote upon introduction are considered consent items. Does any member of the council wish to remove an item from the consent calendar for period, I guess? No? No? Anyone from the public wishing to pull an item from the consent calendar so it can be considered separately? No? Anyone from the web?
No.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We have a 4-0 and 1 absent vote for approval. Public hearing. A public hearing is an open consideration with a regular or special meeting of the city council for which, let me wait.
Mr. Mayor, I was hoping to move item number 10 up to consent, if that's all right.
I just had a senior moment. Staff has requested that I move up item 10 to this point if the council will approve. Is that okay with you? It will be a council item number 10, consider appointment for the Fresno County Transportation Authority Urban and Large Board Member. Our staff member for this item is our city manager, John Holt.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it for moving that up. Mike Leonardo has reached out to Clovis and Fresno with a potential candidate for an FCTA vacant board member position. The FCTA board is made up of 9 members. The urban at-large board member is appointed jointly by the city councils of the city of Fresno and the city of Clovis. This particular position has been vacant since 2014. The appointee must reside in either the city of Clovis or the city of Fresno. Mike Leonardo is recommending the cities consider Sarah Harris, who wishes to serve in this role. Ms. Harris served on the Measure C Renewal Executive Committee and has worked with elected officials from both the cities of Fresno and Clovis. The appointment, if approved this evening, would be conditioned upon the approval by the City Council of the City of Fresno. I was hoping Mike Leonardo was going to be here, but I don't see him here. And then Ms. Harris was going to be online. Is Ms. Harris online?
Yes, she is.
So staff would be recommending the City Council consider the appointment of Ms. Harris for the urban at-large. And she's available for questions. You have a copy of her resume. And that concludes staff's report, and we're available for questions.
Questions? Lynn?
So maybe not in Mike's absence, but I could comment. Hello, Sarah, online. Vong and I both had the privilege of serving with Sarah on the Measure C steering committee that we spent 18 months working our way through. And I just wanted to affirm that where she lives is not relevant in this moment because she's a really good advocate for those with disabilities and those who utilize our transportation system in ways that most of us do not. So I think she brings a really clear perspective. She's focused on outcomes. She's always focused on kind of common solutions to move items forward, and she became quite skilled at the transportation world during our time on Measure C. So while not a Clovis resident, in this case, I think she speaks for the county, and that's really the work of FCTA. So I would strongly support that we affirm her appointment on behalf joining the FCTA board. I don't know if Long, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. Any questions of staff regarding this appointment? I'll open it to the public. Anyone here in the public wishing to comment on this item, item 10, the appointment? Ms. Harris? Anyone on the web? Ms. Harris herself?
Yes, I have Sarah. I just requested for you to unmute yourself. Can you go ahead and speak? I see your mic is on, but we're not hearing you, Sarah.
We can't hear her, but she did agree to the appointment, right?
She has.
Okay. So?
I'll make, if you're going to close the public portion then, I'll make a motion that we appoint Sarah Harris to the Fresno County Transportation Authority as the Urban At-Large Board Member.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No? So it's 4-0 with one absence.
And I was going to remind that this is conditioned upon the city of Fresno doing the same.
Okay. Next item, public hearings. A public hearing is an open consideration with a regular or special meeting of the City Council for which special notice has been given and may be required. When a public hearing is continued, noticing of the adjourned item is required as per Government Code 54,955.1. Item 9 is conduct an appeal hearing regarding an entertainment permit suspension for the Palace Nightclub located at 446 Clovis Avenue, Clovis, California, 93612. Our staff person for that is Police Corporal Chris Hutchinson, and is Deputy City Attorney Wiley Driscoll here? Oh, there he is. And before I start, I've been told that I must give an admonition to all those who will participate in this hearing that you must be sworn in or affirm before you testify. So with that, where's the corporal? And I guess I'll be giving the I will be swearing in or,
Mr. Mayor?
you're fine.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I could, just for the mayor and the council and the public, this is actually just one of the rare instances where the council sits in a quasi-judicial role tonight. So there is a hearing procedure. It's very relaxed. It's not like a court trial or anything, but there are requirements attendant to the hearing, and one of them is that any witnesses give an oath or an affirmation that they're going to testify truthfully tonight. So.
Oh, so he needs to one too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Do I stand up or does?
You can just ask him to raise his right hand. You don't need to.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, we ready?
We're ready.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. For the sake of introduction, my name is Corporal Chris Hutchison, Police Corporal for the Clovis Police Department. My current assignment is with the Neighborhood Services Division. One of my primary functions is I oversee the entertainment permits issued to various entertainment establishments throughout the city. I issue them and I ensure that the terms and the conditions of said entertainment permits are followed through from the owners or the establishments. My main goal tonight is to explain some of the circumstances over the past few months that's led Chief Fleming and the Clovis Police Department to suspend the entertainment permit for the Palace for the remainder of the 2022 calendar year. My goal is to do that as thoroughly but yet as quickly as I possibly can out of respect for everybody's time. So to get started, a little bit of the background. The Palace is a nightclub located in our Old Town district. Address is 446 Clovis Avenue. The owners are Copacabana Entertainment, LLC. The primary owners and the only persons of contact that I've had in the 2 years in this assignment are Caesar and Claudia Lossley, in attendance today. They've been the owners since 2020. The Palace is a California ABC Type 48 license, which is classified as an on-sale general, which is commonly used for bars, nightclubs, and such. Applicable condition with the Type 48 license is that minors are not allowed to enter or remain on the premises. There are some exceptions for entertainers, musicians, members of the band, but again, that is not applicable in this situation. Being a Type 48 ABC establishment, the Palace is required to adhere to Clovis Municipal Code Section 5.5 regarding entertainment permits. Other conditions that make it applicable to an entertainment permit is the dancing to live or recorded music, the use of a DJ, and the use of music combined with serving alcohol between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. For the entertainment permit that was issued to the Palace in December of 2021 for the calendar year 2022, particular conditions that are going to be applicable tonight are persons under the age of 21 of age shall not be allowed inside when alcohol is sold and or consumed, and selling alcohol to minors is grounds for entertainment permit revocation. So a little bit of the backstory. Over the past few months, the city of Clovis the Clovis Police Department has received various tips and information regarding minors being allowed inside the Palace and also consuming alcohol inside the Palace. So I'm going to go through itemized over the past few months some of these particular calls and the circumstances. First complaint we received was on June 27th from a concerned parent. It was a mother. She called the police department to advise that her minor son, and for the purpose of this proposal, minor means under the age of 21. Her son had come home on a Saturday night intoxicated. She confronted the son. He mentioned that he and his friends have been going to the Palace, the nightclub, and they have been going there for a while. Him and his friends consist of Clovis residents. They attended our high schools. They were paying security staff at the Palace for entry into the establishment. That citizen requested to remain anonymous out of hopes of maintaining the relationship with their son. Has not been contacted more. That was the first complaint that we received. Thursday night, early Friday morning, so the end of the bars letting out at about 1:50, one of our patrol officers makes a traffic stop in the Old Town area, southbound Pulaski, leaving from Bullard. The officer's report notes that the vehicle is far right of center to the point where the tires are touching the white paint of the angled parking, if you can envision that. And the officer also notices the front passenger leaning completely out of the window of the car to the point where they can see the upper torso and arms. A traffic stop was initiated. Contact was made with the 18-year-old driver, and the officer immediately noticed the overpowering odor of alcohol. The 18-year-old driver had a .05 BAC, was arrested for DUI, admitted to consuming alcohol at the Palace. There were 4 minor passengers that were also inside the vehicle that were also under the influence of alcohol, admitting to coming from the Palace. What makes this one unique is that all of them were wearing special event wristbands, if you can imagine that. We couldn't understand it at the time, but they said that they were given those wristbands and allowed access to the Palace. So remember this, and I'll be able to explain that a little bit more later on. Friday, July 22nd, again, Thursday night crowd, early Friday morning. Patrol officers were dispatched to Clovis Avenue between 4th and 5th regarding just a large, unruly crowd. As the bars were letting out their crowds, the crowds spilled out into the lanes of Clovis Avenue to the point where they were blocking both number 1 and number 2 lanes of southbound Clovis Avenue. They also spilled out into the back alley where there were some disturbances, people jumping on cars. Most notably here is, as the officers were showing up and regaining control, they contacted 2 18-year-olds who were under the influence of alcohol. They stated that they had been consuming alcohol inside the Palace, and they gained access to the Palace because they knew who the security guard was that was working that night. So the next night, Friday night, emails were sent out notifying everybody of the problems. There was a heavy police patrol presence that night. It was a pretty slow call volume night, so patrol had a pretty heavy presence outside. In response to that email, I also came in, sat up in our dispatch center monitoring the surveillance cameras just to kind of get an idea and a pulse of the scene downtown. It wasn't just viewing the Palace, it was other establishments as well. Some concerns that I had regarding the Palace that night were some inconsistencies with their security practices, particularly regarding searches. Some people were searched pretty thoroughly, other people were searched kind of haphazardly, other people were allowed access without being searched at all. As it pertains to this incident, identification was also sporadic. Some people presented IDs, other people were not required to present IDs. Most concerningly, it seemed that overwhelmingly, if you were female, you were allowed access into the Palace without having to provide identification. That night, those patrol officers made several contacts. No violations pertaining to underage drinking were reported. Thursday, July 28th, Clovis Police Department, and with cooperation from agents from the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, we conducted an undercover operation at the Palace in response to these allegations of underage drinking taking place. Speaking with the ABC agents, they had also received a couple complaints regarding underage drinking. So 2 ABC agents went inside while Clovis PD officers remained outside maintaining surveillance. The 2 ABC agents were inside for approximately an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. At 11:30, they came out, made the call that they identified maybe a half dozen persons that they suspected were under the age of 21. We went inside the Palace, contacted those individuals, verified their ages. All persons that were contacted that night were over the age of 21. Again, rewinded a little bit, I was outside on the perimeter as the agents were inside, again, seeing more of those inconsistent security practices, right? Inconsistent searches, some people being searched, others not. Some people being required to provide ID, others not. And again, that reoccurring theme of females being allowed access without having to present identification. During the course of that operation, Mr. Lossley arrived on scene about halfway through. I will say that when Mr. Lossley was on scene, the efforts of the security staff did improve. He was there, he was outside, he was present. The searches were more thorough, the identification practices were more thorough, but there was an obvious decline in the expectation and the performance of those security officers when Mr. Lossley was not on scene. Thursday, August 4th, again Thursday night, Clovis PD dispatch received a call from someone who requested to remain anonymous. They notified dispatch of a quote-unquote Thirsty Thursday event that was going to be taking place at the Palace. The caller expressed concern that the Palace was going to be allowing underage females inside the establishment in association to this event. From doing some of my investigation, Thirsty Thursdays were a regular event that was promoted on the Palace's social media accounts. Patrol officers that night tried reaching out to the caller. However, it went to voicemail, so we could not contact that person that night. If you want to fast forward a little bit, post-entertainment permit suspension, during my follow-up, I contacted this caller again trying to get some additional information. This caller explained those wristbands that we talked about earlier on that traffic stop with the 18-year-old driver and the 4 passengers who were intoxicated. They explained that the Palace would hold special events where these wristbands would kind of be a pre-sold ticket, if you will, through a promoter. It'd be like a VIP pass, if you will, and they would allow you access to the Palace without having to provide any of your identification. This caller also stated that security tended to turn a blind eye when they were confronted with fake IDs, and also turned a blind eye to young-looking individuals that were trying to get into the Palace that did not have identification. This caller also stated that Mr. Lostley was on scene and allowed people to enter the bar without presenting ID when they looked pretty young. So again, another Thursday night, early Friday morning at 1:57 hours, patrol gets dispatched to a report of a disturbance on Clovis Avenue, just north of the Palace. Patrol arrives on scene, sees an intoxicated 20-year-old laying on the sidewalk, has significant injuries to his face. He'd been assaulted, bleeding from the lip, bleeding from the mouth, bleeding eye. The subject was inside the Palace, admitted to being inside the Palace, stepped outside. As he was walking inside, there was a confrontation with another group. They then assaulted him and stole his wallet. Again, another common thing that we're seeing states that he knew who the bouncer was working at the Palace. The bouncer knew he was underage and still allowed him inside the Palace. Thursday, August 11th, Clovis Police Department organizes a proactive detail. This wasn't just a specific target the Palace type of an operation. We noticed that the general vibe and the scene from downtown was a little bit out of control, not what we're accustomed to from that last ABC operation. There was some drinking that was taking place in the alley, people smoking marijuana out in public. So we organized a proactive detail to combat that, in addition to obviously looking for any underage drinking that could take place. The Palace was the second location that we contacted that evening. Officers made entry, including myself, into the Palace at approximately 10:50 hours. As we walk in, it was very obvious there was a group standing in the middle of the Palace that was very young. There's no other way to describe it other than as you walk into a room, it's blatant and it's obvious. Based on the reactions from that group, it was also very suspicious. It was approximately 7 to 10 people, males and females. Some of them were holding alcoholic beverages. We contact the group. They provide some inconsistent statements. No, I don't have my ID. So we request them to step outside. As we're escorting them outside, a 19-year-old male flees on foot. Short foot pursuit ensues. We're able to detain him. He is drinking. He states that him and his friends have been to the Palace previously. The Palace has a reputation as being an 18 and over bar. He states that he presented his regular ID, which I might dispute later on. He might have had a fake ID that he dropped. But he said that security knew he was underage and told him to, quote unquote, act cool if the cops show up. With the assistance of dispatch, they were able to monitor our cameras, kind of help direct assisting units into the remainder of that group. So in total, we contacted 6 minors and 1 juvenile who we witnessed inside the Palace. Of those 7, 2 were males, 5 were females. The 2 males smelled of alcohol, admitted to drinking inside the Palace. 5 females also had been drinking. One of the females that we contacted was in possession of a fake ID. When she presented it to the investigating officer immediately recognized it as being fake. I don't want to go into detail here in this setting, revealing some of the secrets that we have about what made it fake. but it was very obvious to our officer. That ID was also presented to some other bouncers at other establishments later that night. They also immediately recognized it as a bad fake ID. Upon speaking to the females, they also made comments about the Palace being an 18 and over bar, and it has that reputation amongst minors on social media. They stated that they were not asked to present ID to the bouncers or the security staff at the front door, and none of the bartenders that served them drinks asked them to verify their age either. And some of these girls looked pretty young. Again, as I explained, when we walked into that room, it was very obvious that they were young. So that night, pursuant to the Clovis Municipal Code, the operations of the Palace were closed down for the remainder of the day out of concern for public safety. We conducted our investigation. We identified who the Palace employees were. Upon speaking with security staff, there was 3 that remained on scene. There was talk of 2 more that we could not find and we could not identify. I still don't know who 2 of those security staff are. They are seen on video providing security functions. Upon speaking with Mr. Lostley later on in the process, he stated that he did have 2 new security guards that were working that night that were friends of the head of security, but still, I don't know who those persons are. Friday, August 12th, written notice was given to the Palace, informing them that their entertainment permit had been suspended immediately pursuant to the Clovis Municipal Code. Monday, August 15th, I personally met with Mr. Lostley at the Palace. He was cooperative. He provided us access to his surveillance footage so I can get video footage from that night. I reviewed the footage from that night. As I said, those 2 males, it appears that they did present some type of ID. It's hard to tell. It's a little grainy when you zoom in. It could have been a fake ID. I'm not 100% sure. But when it came to those appreciate the breakup, that's good. But then when it came to the females, clearly they were not asked to present IDs. Security staff talked to them outside for a little bit, seemed to be pretty flirtatious, and they were allowed to enter the establishment without having their identification inspected. On Tuesday, August 23rd, Mr. and Mrs. Lostley requested an appeal hearing with Chief Fleming. Chief Fleming met with Mr. and Mrs. Lostley and informed them that he intended to have the entertainment permit suspension remain in effect for the remainder of the 2022 calendar year. Approximately a week later, Mr. and Mrs. Lostley notified City Clerk's office in writing of their intent to appeal per the municipal code. That's why we're here tonight. The City Council gets to review the circumstances and make the decision if they're going to uphold the entertainment permit suspension, modify the suspension, reinstate the permit, or reinstate the permit with additional conditions. So recommendations of the police department. Again, these are not actions that were taken lightly. This isn't just a one incident knee-jerk reaction. You saw those calls that we responded to. In this case, there was a lot of smoke before we found the fire. But the police department recommends that the City Council uphold the entertainment permit suspension for the Palace for the remainder of the 2022 calendar year. The Palace will be allowed to remain open pursuant to their Type ABC 48 license. However, they will not be allowed to provide entertainment as outlined in the Clovis Municipal Code. Entertainment can be defined as live music, DJs, televisions, jukeboxes, etc. The Palace will be allowed to have ambient music similar to restaurant music, background music that you would find, but it has to be at a lower volume. So a couple questions that I'm anticipating are coming up is the fake IDs. I touched on that. That is a prevalent problem that we're seeing in the city of Clovis and just nationwide. You can get them pretty cheap from China. But again, there are certain tricks that if you're looking for them, most of them are pretty easy to spot. I know of a couple of other establishments that we have that are very proactive with identifying fake IDs and rewarding their employees. It just seems that in this situation, the security staff was not really looking too diligently and turning a blind eye when those fake IDs were presented. As far as advertising and marketing by the Palace, I have not been able to find anything that shows that they are directly advertising to persons under the age of 21. I've looked at their social media accounts. A lot of their flyers where they have DJs that are coming in for the evening will have a 21 plus next to it. Some of those flyers did not. Also made note with Mr. Lossley when we talked to him at his establishment on his front door. Forget exactly what the wording was, but it says 21 and over only, or persons under 21 are not allowed. So I cannot find anything where they are actively, knowingly targeting our minors in our community. So with that being said, it is our recommendation that you uphold the entertainment permit suspension for the palace.
Question for Corporal Hutchinson. Bob?
Yeah, Corporal, thank you for your report. It sounds like you have some observations that were made by officers and then also some of the anonymous reports that came through. The observations that were made by officers were related to actually connecting with some of those who were present at the bar. Were you one of those officers who was present at the bar and was able to interview some of those minors?
So I was the one that was running after the subject that ran, yeah.
Okay.
So I got some of the statements from him initially before I had to kind of step away, turn that over to some of my assisting officers so I can kind of manage the scene. It was a little crazy, and we had multiple officers at different locations.
And you individually did make some follow-up calls, it sounds like, to some of the people who had reported anonymously, is that right?
Correct.
Then it sounds like ABC was involved in a little bit of a passive investigation, perhaps, by being present at the location. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I wouldn't classify it as being passive. They had their agents inside, and during the briefing, they said if our officers come outside and gear up, that means they feel pretty confident that they have a violation.
Okay.
If they felt that there was not going to be any violations, they were just going to kind of cold walk it and have us come inside. They walked out, they geared up, so we were under the impression that they had very credible information and felt pretty confident that there were violations taking place in the palace that night.
And then the other officers who reported to you, at least, some of what they observed, was it directly to you or was it through a police report? Can you explain that to me?
Both. So with my role in neighborhood services, being over entertainment permits, frequently meet with the officers in their briefings and let them know if they have any problems with entertainment permit establishments, to send us an email so I can go ahead and follow up with that. So it was a police report in addition to emails.
Do you know if ABC has conducted an investigation as to whether they're going to revoke the license?
ABC is going to be conducting an investigation into this, yes. As far as if they're going to revoke it or issue a fine, I can't speak to that.
They haven't completed that investigation?
No.
Do you have any expectation as to when it would be complete?
No. I would assume hopefully in the next month or so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I've got no further questions.
Thank you for the report, Corporal Hutchinson. Is the establishment able to, does it have a CUP that allows it to operate, or is it just the district already that?
And I'd have to defer to my friends in planning, but I believe so, yes.
Okay. And then under the CUP, the conditions has where they have to get the entertainment permit, I'm assuming, and that's where they failed? I mean, I know there's not a CUP issue right now, but it's how they
I don't know if the entertainment permit is required per the CUP, but it's clearly outlined in the municipal code. There's several conditions where, again, if you are a Type 48 license, you shall have an entertainment permit. If you sell alcohol between 12 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock a.m. while playing music, you shall have an entertainment permit. So it is outlined in the code.
And prior to the current situation, were there complaints prior to that, or how long have they had the EP entertainment permit, and were there complaints prior to that to where we are today?
So entertainment permits usually run calendar years, so January 1st to December 31st. And as far as the complaints, are you talking about specific to minors or just complaints, period?
You can tell me both. I mean, prior to sort of that first one on June 27th, were we receiving complaints prior to then?
Not regarding underage drinking, no. I did get a couple emails from patrol officers about, maybe some over-occupancy issues. One of the conditions of the entertainment permit, our establishments are required to have an accurate account with some type of mechanical clicker. There were a couple times where Mr. Lossley did not have that. I remember having a conversation with him. He did go out and purchase that and started to have that mechanical clicker. but nothing pertaining to underage drinking.
And then sort of late June, were there other establishments, even if it's not there, where we're seeing minors going into establishments? Or were we getting, like, was it a city thing is what I'm trying to
I'm not...
Were we getting a lot of complaints?
I wasn't getting complaints on other establishments, no. But again, from talking to those other bar owners, I know we have Fresno State, it's a college town. We have a couple of establishments that the younger crowd likes to go to. It's not uncommon. I mean, if we were to go to some of these other places, they'd probably have a stack of fake IDs an inch thick.
Were the owners notified prior to August 12th?
Yes. So the night that we had our ABC operation, Mr. Lossley showed up. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to touch on that. But I explained to Mr. Lossley personally the reason why we were there. I told him that there were complaints regarding underage drinking taking place inside his establishment. Also told him that his establishment was having the reputation as being an 18 and over bar. Told him that ABC has also been receiving complaints, and I also told him that we showed up that night, and if we were to find any minors inside his establishment, that we would have shut down his establishment for that night pursuant to the entertainment permit.
Okay, so when was that? When was that?
That was, I want to say July 22nd off of my memory.
July 22nd? Okay. And so the owner was...
That date is not correct. Hang on one second, sir.
So the 28th, the special enforcement detail, that one?
Yes, or? July 28th is when that took place.
So as of the 28th, he was informed of the concerns that the police department had then?
Correct.
And then on the 11th, you noticed that, you know, from that, however many days that was, not much has changed. In other words, you weren't impressed with, oh, you know, they were notified, we came back, the bar was checking better, you know. It was only when he was there that they behaved better from...
Yeah, the employees did perform their tasks better when Mr. Lossley was present, yes.
Okay. Then, let me see. You were talking about an exception, and then you mentioned that only band members under this this Type 48.
Yes.
So if they were in a band and they were performing, they can be a minor, but it's not an exception where it's a special youth night or a special where minors can come in. So it's only for the performers,
correct.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, it is a state law, and that's what those 7 minors that we contacted that night, they were all issued citations for being inside the palace. It is illegal for them to be inside of a Type 48 establishment.
And then in each of those cases where the minors or the underage admitted to us, did we go back and verify at all? Did you ever verify to see if they were actually there?
Just on that most recent last operation where we watched the video.
Okay. And so for these permits, how many do we revoke or have we that you can recall? How often?
2021 was a bit of an anomaly. I mean, at one point we had 3 that were suspended or amended for brief periods of time. The Palace was one of them. The Outlaw Saloon was one of them, and then Old Town Saloon had a brief period as well where their entertainment permit was amended. As far as this year, 2022, this is the first situation.
And if it's suspended like this, then January 1st, they can reapply, correct?
Yes, Chief Fleming has made it very clear to the Lossleys that when January 2023 arrives, they can reapply for their entertainment permit, and we can reevaluate that and add additional conditions if we see fit.
Okay. And then in the part where you say they can still operate, can they still serve alcohol?
They can still serve alcohol, yes.
Okay.
Just Clovis is unique in that it has the entertainment permit that pertains to the music.
Okay. So they can pretty much serve to operate the same, it's just the entertainment part is what is...
They can still serve as a bar, they just can't be the nightclub.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thanks for your report. Sort of related to the ABC question, is the recommendation to revoke the entertainment permit because you think the draw there to the bar for these underage individuals is the entertainment, or is the draw the alcohol, but we don't have any ability to cease their sales of alcohol, if that makes sense? Are they coming to drink, or are they coming to dance, or obviously they're coming to do, or make whatever, but is the only tool we have right now is revoking their entertainment permit? We can't cease their operations to sell alcohol?
Yes, correct. So as far as the minors go, I think it's maybe a combination of the both, because it is a pretty lively environment, especially on the Thursday nights. It's pretty packed. There's loud music. It's loud. It's where young people want to be. And again, from finding out what I've found out, it looks like it was pretty easy and pretty common for minors to be allowed in there.
And so I'm going to ask a question about the 2021 revocation of the entertainment permit. Can I do that? Is that relevant to this?
You can. I don't think it was a revocation, but...
Or whatever it was, the suspension, or whatever.
You can ask questions, yes.
So was the suspension in 2021 for this same circumstance?
No, so the 2021 suspension was related to the double homicide that took place at the palace.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So, when complaints come through dispatch, they're received over the phone, obviously. Now, that communication is recorded through some kind of recording device?
Correct.
So that information exists somewhere?
Should, yes.
Okay. And then, usually in a department, especially the size of Clovis PD, there's a dispatcher that's a call taker. They log in the information into what we call in law enforcement CAD, a computer-aided dispatch. So whatever that dispatcher logged should be in a CAD system somewhere.
Yes, correct.
So that information exists too. So and then you use that as evidence in the future, now, in the past, now, and then in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I came up with the presentation tonight, is I just pulled up the calls for history and spelled it out for you. But yes, when we do issue new entertainment permits for the new calendar year, we do review calls for service at the establishments, see if they're excessive.
So you just didn't fall out of the sky. Something happened to prompt you to do your investigation.
Correct.
And then that's why an officer might have gone to this establishment to investigate.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does the law say as far as the responsibility of the license holder when it comes to identifying the age of the potential patron?
The owners of the establishment are responsible for the actions of their subordinates. It's spelled out in the
But what about the age of the patron, the people wanting to consume the alcohol? What does the law say? Must they identify that person is in fact of legal age to consume alcohol?
Yeah, there's a potential for huge penalties and fines, especially from ABC, for allowing minors in your alcohol establishment. Absolutely. And
if they don't, even if it's through a subordinate, whose responsibility is that?
Ultimately, the owners.
The owner. So it's whoever owns the license is responsible for ensuring that no one goes into their establishment that is a minor.
Correct.
Okay. And the minors that were contacted, the 7 or 8 that were congregated, none of them were carrying instruments, right?
No.
Or known...
They were not members of the band, if that's what you're asking.
Or known singers or entertainers, okay, so... And the difference between a minor and a juvenile, you said some were minors and at least one was a juvenile.
One was a juvenile for the purposes of this. That's under the age of 18.
That's under 18. So a minor is actually someone that's actually an adult, but in California, it cannot consume alcohol.
Correct.
Because they're not 21. And a juvenile is someone that is not even an adult, right?
Correct.
So you're saying we had juveniles in there?
We did have one, yes.
Okay. So... Yeah, I need to be. Okay. Thank you for your report. I think that's all we have as far as the council's concerned. So now we'll hear from the
You can
appellant?
hear from the appellant, yes, and you'll need to administer the oath as well.
Okay. So now it's time to hear from the appellant. So anyone from the appellant side wishing to come up here, that's the podium we use. There is a little symbol there of a face kind of thing with some waves coming out of it. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to administer the oath or affirmation. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here and the opportunity you, council members, allowing me to explain. I am an investor with the Palace, and the Palace has been in business since 2020, 3 days prior to the shutdown. So I bought a business, we invested in a business where I did not know that there was going to be a shutdown. So it took the whole year to remodel it to a very nice nightclub where people can go and have a great time. I spent so much money in paintings and lightings, and so when you guys go there, you have a great time. Then 2021, Governor Newsom allowed some of the restrictions to be lifted, and we began doing business for the first time. A lot of people were afraid to come out, and because of COVID-19, and that's very understandable. Then we have an incident. It wasn't our fault in technicality. It wasn't our fault, and that the homicide happened in my place. It wasn't something that we requested to happen. We were a very unknown nightclub, and talking to one of the deceased prior to the shooting, I wanted to know the reason why they were visiting us. And one of the deceased stated that he was celebrating his freedom because he just got out of prison. So he was celebrating his freedom, and that's the only reason. And they were looking online on Google for a nightclub. Though they search, a lot of the nightclubs even mention names that they look up in the internet, and then they saw the Palace. And they decided to go there because it looks nice to spend a great time. Yes, Clovis Police Department suspended our entertainment permit because of the shooting, even though it wasn't our fault. We didn't call upon it. However, after the shooting, we had almost 24,000 views in Google. So that's how our business started to increase. A lot of people wanted to know what happened, and I thought it was going to be something negative for the business. But in reality, it's all the opposite.
Could you say that again? You had over 24,000, say it again? You had over 24,000
views.
Views, like
yeah.
on your website?
Not on my website. I don't have a website. It's on Google. People search Google.
Oh, searching for the Palace. I see. Thank you.
So, okay, our permit got suspended for 120 days. However, the difference between there and this time is that at least we were allowed to play music until midnight. This time is from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., no music whatsoever. Our business started to increase, especially when we have an economy that is not doing well. I saw and I heard a lot of bar owners not making the kind of money that we were making. And the reason being is it's a very nice club. Small, but very nice. Our customers usually are from real estate business, business owners, nurses. That's the kind of crowd that I wanted to attract. So when I bought the Palace, the previous owner, he didn't care about investing money, making his place look nice, and I did. I'm kind of like the Donald Trump. I like good stuff, and I invest a lot of money so I can bring the right crowd. I want to get rid of the bad crowd and bring only the best. However, this year I noticed something. Our Thursday night, yes, we started getting busy, and I noticed, honestly, something was going to happen. A lot of bar owners, they're not going to like that. And I kind of knew that was going to happen. In fact, I talked to my employees, get ready, Clovis PD will be after our own butt. So I told them in advance. My bartender here were told a few negative stuff from Clovis PD. But we continue. And then on June, we started noticing an increase. We do not advertise anything for under 21 years old. We do not do it. In fact, we also have collected fake IDs. We have a lot of fake IDs. But it seems like they're getting better at getting fake IDs to look so real. I haven't got any support from Clovis PD to tell us, Caesar, we're going to have a training on how to detect fake IDs. I haven't. I have tried on my own, look around in the market to see if there is a scanner or some software to let us know in advance if there's a fake ID. There are, but they don't work. It's a waste of money. So battling this situation with minors, having fake IDs is not an easy task. But I'm not going to go against Clovis PD. All I want is my entertainment license at least to be perhaps modified to let us play music until midnight. Only because obviously this situation is killing us financially. And like I said, I personally work very hard to check IDs, and he stated many times when I'm there, my guards, they do their job. Because of the last incident, I continue to fire security guards. I fire everybody, including when one of my security guards disrespected a police officer. It's automatically his fire, and I have done it. I have told him. Mr. Hutchinson, yes, he has communicated, Caesar, you need a light bulb here. We fix it. I fix it right away. Oh, your clicker. Yes, I bought hundreds of them. So I do what he suggests me to do. But there are incidents where minors, yes, it's hard to detect. And the night he's talking about, my security guard, yes, he checked for ID. Okay? In fact, I gave him the tool necessary to check for IDs, and still, it checked out it was a real ID. Yeah, they ran that night. I saw the video. One of the young kids, he came in with a group, and a few minutes, maybe 2 minutes after he came in, he picked up his cell phone, and he called someone. 10 minutes later, I got Clovis PD walking inside, walking directly to the group. That is questionable. I don't have any proof of all these claims. Anonymous call, I don't have any proof. It could be perhaps my neighbor, he's upset. It could be a lot of things. So I'm the only nightclub that has punished so severely by Clovis PD is just the Palace, it's me. Next door, they had an incident a few years ago, Old Town Saloon. A minor got driving and caused an accident. He was placed on probation for 3 years. That's what the owner told me. And secondly, about the wristband he's talking about, we do not do that. We do not give clients a wristband. Maybe they went to another club, and they kept saying it came to us. We do not know that. There is no proof whatsoever. So that's what I'm here today, to explain some of the detail that, as an owner, I think is not only hurting us, but it's hurting also the city of Clovis, because we are not generating the tax needed. We pay taxes. We pay $100,000 in taxes a year. I personally pay like around $80,000 in personal income tax. But this is the way to do business. We will never end to this situation. As long as these kids continue to get fake licenses, this is going to happen with the Palace or Old Town Saloon. It will continue happening. But we need some kind of tool. Clovis PD, Officer Hutchinson, you stated, they know how to detect a fake ID. I want to know how to do that. If we can get some training from them, that'll be great. My bartender, he's been there from the previous owner. He has been working there for a long time. I think he has something to say too. Thank you.
Mr. Alonso, can I ask you some questions before before your bartender comes in? I wanted to ask, I understand the predicament with regards to the ID, and I just want, have you asked for assistance from PD on training, or where you can get training and train your staff on that?
The last time that we had a meeting with Clovis PD, it was around June of 2021. They only briefly touched about the situation, but they didn't offer any help.
So you knew about it in June already?
I knew about the fake ID situation, fake ID. But not of any offer.
Okay, but did you ask though?
No.
Okay, and then I wanted to ask you about some of the staff reported that there was video of your security not even asking for ID. How do you answer to that? And so,
yes.
Can you help shed some light on that?
Yeah, talking with security guards, and the answer was those are regular customers. They already have checked out months before. They're over 21. That's the only reason why they. And secondly, we're not allowed to pat women because we need to have a female security guard. The only thing we check is purses. But yeah, that's what the security guard told us.
And is that pretty standard, where if someone has come several times, then you no longer need to check? If the security guard can identify them again, is that how it works? So, is that the legal way to do it?
Yeah, the legal way, yes.
So,
for example,
someone like me who looks older, if I come there a couple times, the third time I can just walk in without showing my ID?
Yeah, because you're already a regular customer.
Okay. And so another Asian guy who looks like me, who may or may not know can he potentially slip by? Because,
No.
Okay.
We will check your ID.
The security guard will know and is able to identify long-term or regular customers.
Yes.
And so because of that, the people in the video that officers saw were, what you're saying is, were the regular customers.
One of the young men that the officer is talking about came back later on to pick up the fake ID. Apparently, they threw it away somewhere. We couldn't find it. And I notified Officer Hutchinson, that's what they said. So obviously, they had a fake ID. When they were cut by the officer, they didn't show any ID because they threw them away somewhere, either inside the palace or outside, possibly outside.
And then another question is, then at the bar, what is the business practice? Do you have to show ID inside the establishment to purchase alcohol?
Not necessarily, because a bartender already are trusting our security guard. However, if they see someone underage, they will ask for ID.
Okay. So because it is a 21 and above establishment, I guess the understanding is that if you're in, you already checked that front, so it doesn't waste time when you're inside purchasing. But if he should question it, he does have a right to ask again. So the normal practice is you don't check for ID at the bar, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Losley, who requires that you check your patrons for identification?
Who requires the security guard?
Who?
The security guard.
No, who requires? What agency requires that you check for identification?
Well, I assume Clovis PD or...
No, I don't need you to assume. I need you to tell me who does. No assumption. What is the agency that requires for you to maintain your license that you check your patron's identification?
ABC.
Okay. Have you asked ABC for the training you say Clovis PD does not provide?
Yes, in fact, I have.
And what is their answer?
They don't say anything because they know they can't combat this issue with fake IDs.
So you're telling me that fake ID are so good that ABC is clueless?
ABC and Clovis PD already had a situation where they were checking scanners. They were going through how to resolve this issue with fake IDs, and they can fix this problem. Fake ID are so good.
What I heard the corporal say is that the issue of fake IDs is endemic. They're everywhere. He didn't say they couldn't detect them. He said they're just everywhere. They're ubiquitous. Kids are using them. They can buy them everywhere. He even said they can buy them from China. Doesn't mean they can't detect them. You're telling me they cannot be detected by your security staff? Is that what your testimony is here today? Your testimony that you hire staff that cannot detect false identification. That's the staff that you're hiring?
Yes, unless you have the equipment to check it. And the only way that we lately, this is talking about 2 months ago, we had to purchase a very special light that even the light itself, it will detect it's fake, but it's not 100% guaranteed. And that's the only tool that we have in order to detect fake IDs. It's just a special light.
And what kind of light is it?
It's called a black light. That when you place your light behind the ID, it will show the skin color on the ID, but a lot of the skin color is not 100% guaranteed because even fake IDs shows the true color of the fake ID.
So it's a regular black light, or is it a specialized black light?
It's just a special black light.
So what's the name of the product?
It's just a black light. It's a flashlight, black light.
So
you can buy it on Amazon.
An ordinary black light is the only specialized equipment you need to detect a false ID?
Not 100%, but at least 90%.
Okay, that's your testimony today, that an ordinary black light is all the equipment you need to detect 90% of the false IDs.
Yes.
And you do have that equipment?
Yes.
Okay, so you're missing 10% of the false IDs is what you're saying. At least your staff is.
Yes.
Okay. Any more?
Yeah, thanks. It's Crossley, is that right, Mr. Crossley or Costley?
Lossley.
Lossley, thank you. Mr. Lossley, have you taken the responsible beverage service training?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember the section that talked about looking at false identifications and how easy it was to determine who was presenting you with a false identification?
No, I haven't.
Nothing about how you can put a light behind it, doesn't have to be a black light, but just a bright light in order to be able to see the seal and actually some of the artwork that's on the California identification. You don't recall any of that in your responsible beverage service training?
No, what I have tried personally, I tried several lights, and we have tried from different types of black light. And the only one seems to work is not the LED type black light, because there is the LED type and the regular black light. So the regular black light is the only one that, at least to our knowledge, it will detect a fake ID, but once again, it's not 100%.
Do you remember in your responsible beverage service training that even if somebody was presenting you with an identification that you felt was even legitimate, you could still refuse service to that individual?
No.
You weren't aware of that?
No.
Didn't you? Okay. When was the last time you took the responsible beverage service training?
When I had a restaurant, because I'm not a bartender, so I don't have to take that. But I had it back in 2018, 2019, I took that.
Okay. Well, you are the one who has the ABC licenses, isn't it in your name or
no.
A company that you own?
It's somebody else's name. Like I said, I'm an investor in the palace.
I see. So whose name or what LLC or what corporation is on the ABC license?
It's Claudia Lossley, my wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I've got no further questions.
Okay.
I have some more questions for you, Mr. Lossley. I was just thinking. So, can you tell me, after you were notified around July 28th, what active steps you took to try to help resolve some of the concerns that you knew PD and also ABC. So
Yes,
what active steps did you
okay, yes, on July 28th, unannounced, Clovis PD and ABC officer raided a nightclub looking for minors. That was the first time I heard that my establishment had minors. That was the very first time that I heard. Officer said that they received a first call back in June. Okay, but to me, it was the first night. He did. He explained the reason why they were there, and I was there personally, and they found no minor. I talked to the officer from ABC, and once again, the same issue with the fake ID. At that moment, with Officer Hutchinson at the same time, and once again, there is nothing really to combat the fake ID, unless there's a very good training they can provide us with. So I talked to my security guards, and because we were getting busier and busier, I told my head security guard we need 2 more guards because we're getting busier. And also I told them to check for fake IDs. And my policy is if a security guard is not doing his or her job, we automatically, we fire that person. Because I understand we are in a business that is not an easy business to be in. I understand that. And that's why I really enforce my policies. And what is my main policy is minors. Because we want to avoid this, especially the last few months that I noticed our business is increasing, and I know there'll be enemies. So I talk to you, including to my bartender also. If you see someone that looks younger, because we have cases that there are some people, they're 25 years old, and they look like 16, 15. And we have verified it with ID. They look very, very young. These people are blessed. They look 25 and they look like 15. In fact, I had a girl, she looked 13.
Like this, like this.
Yeah, she looked 13 years old. And I had to check from not only her ID, her friend, vouch, she's 25 years old. So it's a very difficult situation that we are in. But obviously, there had to be a way how to fix this problem. I believe there's a way. What is the way? I don't know, unless Clovis PD will give us a good training or train our guards for our new guards. So now we are working on hiring ex-police officers as a security guard. They're very trained, and there is a security guard company in Fresno that hires only ex-police officers. And I already talked to them, and that's our next level, our next step to fix this problem.
My last question is, in your letter, you said it was, the decision was unfair, but you also alleged that it was discriminatory. Can you speak to that point?
Yes, I feel like, well, my wife, she feels that she's been discriminated because to suspend or actually entertainment license until December 31st, when a lot of nightclubs, they don't go through all that. Secondly, people, of course, they'll get angry because they see we have a long line outside, but they're not all minors. It's a regular 21 and above customer. We have customers that they're 60 years old, and they still go there. They enjoy our club. But that's how she feels. It's just the reason that she's been treated like that. There is no need to suspend the entertainment license for more than 5 months. Not only is it's costing us money, but the city as well. And I guess last year I was actually watching a video from police chief asking for more money, more police officers. But if he continues to decline this type of businesses to generate taxes, I think that is unfair. So my purpose here is just to modify that, or at least let's get back in business. My wife, she wants to sell this business. at least put it in the market. We have several buyers already, but they're not gonna buy a business that is dead.
But are you, I just want to interject. So are you saying that PD is purposely targeting you because of your success?
That's how she feels she's being discriminated.
Okay, so, but on what basis though? Discrimination because what?
Because just the way that they are suspending the entertainment license, no music whatsoever. Last year, there were 2 people killed, and they didn't suspend my license for the whole day, or we play music until midnight.
Okay, so I guess so based on that, you're saying these potential allegations are not as serious as someone actually losing life, so why are you getting suspended all the way to the end of the year and not being able to play music? But last year there was an incident that was, at least in the public, seemed much more serious, and
well, a lot of these claims,
the punishment was not as severe.
Yeah, a lot of these claims, I personally feel they're circumstantial. And like I said, look, he mentioned anonymous call. Okay, I don't have any document or proof who's complaining. It might as well be my next door neighbor complaining. Once again, that's how I feel. She feels discriminated because she cannot open up her business as a regular. It's already been a month and 2 weeks. So I think even ABC possibly would not even suspend a license for more than 3 weeks. But Clovis PD, they're suspended for almost for the whole year now.
Thank you, Sam.
So one last question. You mentioned before that the police came unannounced. So do you believe that's some sort of violation or something?
No, I didn't believe nothing. First of all, I wasn't even expecting that.
But you make mention, you've mentioned it a couple of times in your presentation, in your testimony, that the police came unannounced. So,
correct.
So is that something that we should take note?
You know, actually, yes. What I want is, if the police gets a call, at least let the owner know, Caesar or Pedro or whoever, we receive a call about this. But don't let it drag 2 months later, because I wasn't even aware of what was going on. I think it's their duty to let us know so we can fix the problem or do something. But that day, yes, they came in unannounced, and they found nothing wrong with us.
But do you know that
1, 2, 3.
But now with Mr. Lawsley, okay. Okay, we'll resume our meeting again. Any more questions for Mr. Lawsley from the council? No? No more? Any closing remarks?
Yes, I want my partner to have an opportunity to say something.
Okay. Will you, after I administer the oath, will you give us your name and your address, please? Please raise your hand, the right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to provide in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Your name and?
Oh, my name is Jeremy Silvas. And you said address?
Your address, yeah.
Oh, 5118, or my home address, or
yes.
Oh, sorry. 5118 North Bungalow Lane, Fresno.
Okay. You want to give us testimony regarding?
Oh, yeah. Well, since all this happened, I know that, because we took that one class you were saying earlier, I forgot the name of it, the RBS. No, because I have been checking IDs a lot more, even double checking them from the security we have now. And I do, because sometimes I'm alone without security, so I do have a stack of fake IDs that we've had. My other bartender, Roxanne, she's caught a bunch of fake IDs too. So we've been trying to get on top of it a lot more.
I'm sorry, and you were saying that is subsequent to the responsible beverage service training that you took?
Yes.
Okay. And did you take that just a few months ago?
Did I what?
Did you take that course just a few months ago?
I took it in May,
okay.
I want to say.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
So we've been checking that a lot more, and I just think that with the new security or professional security, like company, that we could get on top of it and not have any minors in there. I think that's it.
So prior to that, so you're saying now you're getting professional security?
Oh, yes.
So
yeah, when we have everything back, because right now I hardly have any customers. Because it's just, we usually have 3 bartenders, and now I'm the only one.
And so the fact that you are seeing IDs at the bar means they were getting in with those fake IDs,
No.
huh?
Oh, no, this was when I don't have security at the front door in the beginning.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about a different time then?
Oh, no, like in the beginning, like when I first open up at 7.
Okay.
It'll just be me, and then I get the IDs. I check all the IDs before security gets there.
Okay. So I guess security gets there at a certain time.
Oh, yeah.
So before then, because there's no entertainment and so.
Oh, yeah, there's no entertainment, so we don't have to have security right now.
Okay, I understand. Thanks.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about this entertainment. I mean, what we hear of the Palace is that it is kind of an upscale bar. Is gearing towards professionals, real estate professionals, business owners, and I would imagine, and this is just me, I haven't gone to a bar in Old Town, I don't think, since I was in college, really. So there was something that would cause people to go to the Palace that was related to the entertainment. Yet it seems to me that the real estate professionals and the business owners may be more interested in having a conversation with somebody, not necessarily the entertainment, but, what do I know, right? So what is the entertainment like at the Palace?
Well, sometimes they just want to, let down.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like DJs. Sometimes we have the live bands that come in there.
Okay.
But the DJs would do a variety of music. Sometimes they would go and ask the customers what they would want to hear.
Okay.
I mean, it could be from country to rock to old school to R&B.
Okay.
Everything.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ben? Let me ask you a question. So you're saying that now you have fewer or no patrons?
Some nights I'll have 2 people come in.
Is it because you're checking IDs or because of the no entertainment?
It's because of the music. They want to hear music, they want to dance, they want to, it's like the ladies come out, they have a mom's night, and they come out, they want to dance, they want to listen to music and do stuff like that. So that's why they don't come to us, they will go next door, the Fifth or the other bars. Because we have their line coming across our front door. Because they had run 2 lines.
So, okay, so that's what you're saying. You're saying that the lack of entertainment is causing fewer or no patrons at your bar.
Because I'll have customers come in and say, well, we can't wait till you guys, have music again, we'll keep checking, but sorry.
Okay, and you have all kinds of, your genre of music is, it's everything.
It's everything, yeah.
From rock to pop to whatever.
Country to everything.
Okay.
Yeah, another question. How long have you worked there?
Since 2013.
Oh, okay, so a long time. So I guess in the time sort of when these incidents are reported, have you noticed or have you seen who you think, because you see a lot of people where minors getting into these clubs an issue? You see
Not
them
coming up to the bar specifically.
Okay.
I mean, some of them look young and we would check them.
Yeah.
But nothing like too young.
Okay. So it happens on occasion, it's not a big issue?
Not really, I don't think so. I mean, but I've been extra careful and everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because we were relying on the security to do it. We thought they were, doing their best to do everything.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak on behalf of the appellant?
I would like to hear from if you don't mind. It's up to you if you want to come speak, but the person who actually is in ownership of the ABC license, if you wanted to visit with us, that would be great.
Mr. Costa?
Hello, good evening. My name is Claudia Lostley.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting. Sorry about that. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to provide in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know if you just wanted to make some initial comments. If not, I can maybe ask you some questions. What would you prefer?
I don't know. Questions? Fine.
Okay. All right. So you heard the corporal provide a bit of evidence related to the reason why you guys no longer have the entertainment permit. Do you dispute some of the evidence that he has presented, or are you in agreement that those events that he's described actually took place?
Well, the one I'm not really agree is the incident happened with, he mentioned DUI. They gave them a DUI. I don't know, it was a lady, I don't know.
Yeah, and said that they were drinking at your place.
Yes, and we just know that when everything happened. So I think they should come to us and let us know, that they got someone.
Other than that, you would agree with most of the evidence that he provided today?
The thing is to me, I feel insecure because everybody can say, I'm coming from the balance. And he mentioned something about wristbands, and we don't use, even when we have an event and we have Sharpie, we don't use wristbands. We have a stamp. Okay. We stamp. Right. So he mentioned that we have something that we do wristbands. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a promoter apparently that had been promoting your business and the event that was going to be taking place and provided the wristbands. You don't recall anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. And then would you recognize, or do you recognize that you have a problem with minors purchasing alcohol at your establishment?
I'm sorry, I'll speak more Spanish and...
Oh.
Yeah, but
I don't recall, because we are always there. We don't have, since we purchased this bar, we don't have life. We have to be there because, me and my husband, we don't have vacation, we don't have a day off, we are always there, we have a little business. I feel like I work 48 hours, okay? And I was there with my husband. And he knows me, I'm really, you know, very strict. And every time I see someone that looks younger, I ask my husband, go check them again, recheck, because she looks too young to me. She looks too young, and no, but they check.
And so did you take the RBS training, the Responsible Beverage Service training?
No, you don't have to.
No. I believe I don't have to do it.
Okay. All right. You're the one whose name is on the ABC license?
Yeah, everything is on my shoulders.
Okay. All right. I guess I really don't have any other questions for you then if you haven't taken the training. I'm just surprised to learn that you haven't because you're the person who actually is the owner of that license. So, do you tend the bar at all? Do you check ID? You say you work there 48 hours? I presume that you provide some type of service.
Well, I was next to I'm next to the guards. When I go there, I'm next to my husband, and they check something weird, or I don't like that kind of person to come in. Don't let him in, please, don't let him in. I don't like this man. I feel like it's not a good, something can happen.
Okay.
Since the incident happened in 2021, I'm being afraid because I was next to the people who got killed.
Sure.
I almost got killed too.
Sure.
And that's why I was there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
before we ask any other questions, this hearing has been mostly in English. Have you understood most of what has gone on in our hearing?
Yes.
Today? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, with regards to sort of the wristbands, and I noticed that some of your flyers have an RSVP number. So when they RSVP, it's just to let people know they're coming, or are they getting something to verify that they're on a list? Is that what's going on? What?
RSVP?
Yeah. What is that?
Oh,
how does that work?
well, I can answer that question because I'm the one who does the
flyers?
The flyers.
Yeah, okay.
And I honestly, one of them I forgot to put the 21 plus. I always put it there. But I put that because they can call me if they want to use the VIP area. That's our RSVP is for. If they can use the VIP area.
Thank you.
Any more questions from Mrs. Lossie? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wishing to speak for the appellants? So, do we close the?
Yeah, if you don't have any other questions.
Council, have any questions for any of the witnesses? Anyone can? I do have one for the corporal. As far as the wristbands, how do we determine they came from there, or do we have, other than what the people outside, because I think your testimony is all those found with wristbands were outside of the bar. Did any officer or other witness that are reliable see the wristband inside the bar?
No. So the persons were contacted inside their vehicle, and Mr. Lossley is right. I've never seen them issue wristbands, but if my memory serves correctly from speaking with him, I believe that timeline of when this took place coincides with the time when he was on vacation, possibly over the summer. I could be wrong about that, but my recollection was that might have corresponded when he was not there and other people were managing the establishment.
So whoever was left in charge could have done it.
Could have.
But
I'm not 100% sure, no.
But after the incident that caused the police department to come in contact with these wristbands, no one went back to the bar to see if others had the same wristband inside the bar?
No.
To confirm that those wristbands were in fact coming out of that bar?
No.
Any more questions from anyone?
Yeah, I had a question with regards to the code itself. So it says, the chief of police may revoke or suspend for a period of up to 30 days in entertainment. So how do we get to the end of the year versus what this says here? Can you kind of get me to that?
I'm not sure if the city attorney wants to talk about that one.
Is it 5510, 5.5?
We're actually, I'll have my colleague Wiley come up, but we're under 5.5.11, the immediate suspension provision.
Okay, so if that is the case, I know that too, but how come we didn't do that one versus going straight to the rest of the immediate for the rest of the year too? So can you kind of help?
Can you say that question one more time?
So 5.5.10 says we can do it for 30 days, up to 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the other one where Scott is referring to says we can do it for the rest of the year. So what led to the department or the chief saying, you know, let's not do the 30, let's go to this because here's my thinking, it's egregious enough. So help us understand.
Yeah, you said the word that I was going to use. I mean, there was a lot of instances here, and we feel that the violations were egregious enough that it warranted the suspension for the remainder of the year. Also noted was the incident from 2021, the double homicide. Yes, if you want me to explain some of that timeline, we can, but that entertainment permit suspension, that was handed out again because of security issues. It wasn't the double homicide. The double homicide is what brought us our attention to those security lapses. I mean, the suspect was able to walk up to the palace after 2 o'clock when the business was supposed to be closed. No security was standing at the door, able to walk inside, and that's where the shooting took place. So there were some security lapses associated to that shooting. That's what led us to have that entertainment permit suspension in 2021. The date of that event was, May 22nd is when that incident took place. June 7th, Mr. and Mrs. Lossley met with Chief Fleming. June 10th, Chief Fleming made the decision to amend the entertainment permit from the immediate suspension with no music to the amended entertainment permit where they were allowed to have entertainment up until midnight. So I'm kind of taken back by some of the comments about us being discriminatory or having it out for the palace, because we showed them, I think, quite a bit of understanding given the circumstances from 2021 in working with them with that entertainment permit suspension and the modification. But as far as your initial question, again, we feel that all these incidents, they're pretty egregious, and they're a sign of a systemic problem that needs to be addressed.
And was the faith in sort of the permit holder where you felt they were not taking it as serious? Did that play into it at all, or is it just the amount of incidents from that short period of time?
No, again, I've talked to Mr. Lossley and Mrs. Lossley several times over the past 2 years in this assignment. I mean, he's very well spoken. He's an agreeable person. I have no ill will towards either one of them. But again, it goes back to the level of the performance of their employees. I don't know if you want to call it a lack of institutional control or whatever it might be, but it seems that when he is not there, their security employees perform in another manner. And it's impacting our community and the safety of our citizens.
Thank you. They kind of asked about the music. What was your thinking about modifying it to just allow the music, or is the music the key for the entertainment permit?
So you're talking about the current decision, or are you talking about the one from 2021?
Kind of make it more like that one where they can still have music, so they can still have some type of business, or is that sort of the crux of the issue, so that way, it would not be something in which police would be recommending sort of a modified suspension?
Well, he's not going to be happy I'm going to do this, but the person that made that decision was Chief Fleming, and that might be a question more appropriate for him with his mindset, because I was there for the hearing, but ultimately the decision lies with Chief Fleming.
As I read this, though, they can still have music, like ambient music in the background. They just can't have entertainment kind of music that causes people to dance. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. I think the way I said it earlier is they can still be a bar, they just can't be a nightclub.
Right.
That-
Music is possible.
So it's more like elevator music versus dancing.
That live music.
Yeah.
Okay. But, Chief, you're not open to what they're requesting. I just want to make sure this is a pretty firm, hey, this is something serious enough. So.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Really, it comes down to public safety is our goal. When I've met with the Losleys in the past, we want their business to be successful. That's the goal. We want downtown to be safe, and we've tried to make that happen over the last 2 years. In 2021, when I first met with them after the incident downtown at their bar, the original suspension was for 120 days. After 30 days, they came to me and said, hey, can we amend this? Can we, come to some agreement? So with Corporal Hutchinson, we sat down, went through some security issues, some things that they had challenges with. They changed some lighting at that time, made sure all the cameras were working, and some other things came to ensure that was not going to happen. So I think we met with them again, probably 45, 30, 60 days into that, when I had amended it and allowed the midnight operation with music to go till midnight. And I did that because they made a commitment to say that we will ensure that these things take place. We don't want another incident to happen. I believe, I don't know if it continued on for the full 120 or if at some point we went ahead and lifted it early.
I think it continued for the full 120.
So I think we kept it at the midnight operation for the full 120, then the suspension got lifted. We are not singling out the Palace. I've suspended several other bars downtown for having serious battery issues where people got severely injured, and we take it serious. And I've worked with other bar owners and made amendments sooner than the full suspension. In this incident, why I don't feel that we should amend it or lift it until the end of the year is because those things that we worked on in the past are the same problems why we're here today. And my concern is that we're going to have a underage girl in a bathroom being sexually assaulted, which we had in our bars in the past. We're going to have that happen outside of the bars. We're going to have a DUI crash where teenagers are getting killed. And if we can do this to prevent that from happening, that I'd rather do that to educate the bar owners to make sure that in the future this is not going to happen again. So when we issue that entertainment permit again in January, maybe they can go and take the ABC license in the meantime, learn the proper way to identify identification. That is not the responsibility of the police department. We are willing to help out, but that is not our responsibility. And to put that on us, I think is a lack of ownership of what's occurring there. And to get into the multiple occasions that led up to this, we can throw all those out. The thing that happened, there's 6 juveniles, a minor inside the business that officers contacted, issued citations, and there's no doubt about that incident occurring. So that's why I'm recommending that this continue till the end of the year. I'm more than willing to reissue them entertainment permit starting in January, knowing that we sit down, maybe they've taken some steps to further ensure that they can identify license and IDs properly, that they have the security that they know the names of. 2 of the people we have not identified at this point that are working the front door that are not employees, that they don't even know who they are. They're supposed to have guard cards, supposed to be properly dressed in certain attire to meet the municipal code, and those things aren't occurring. And those are things that were promised to us last year, and we can't keep going down this road before somebody seriously gets hurt again.
Thank you, and I appreciate you both explaining about why the permit was issued last year, because it was security. That was very helpful. Thank you.
I had some questions about process and maybe one of the two of you or, the attorney, who's been assisting you can help out. So there was the way 5.5.10 reads is that there can be a suspension of a permit up to 30 days. But there can also be a modification. What I heard you say was that from the previous event in 2021, that there was a suspension of the permit for more than the 30 days. But then I think the way that you described it was that it was actually just a modification of the entertainment permit. Am I understanding that correctly?
So for you're talking about in 2021?
Yeah, in 2021.
So in 2021, the original suspension was for 120 days.
Was that a full-on suspension, or like they couldn't have any entertainment for that 120 days?
Correct. That was the original, what was put in place. And then they met with me probably 30 days into it, asked for some type of modification. We came to, laid out some things that needed to take place before we would be willing to do that. They immediately jumped on those items, some lighting issues, some security things, put those items in place, and then at that point came back and met with me again, and we modified it to go till midnight.
Okay, so that they could have entertainment until midnight. And the only reason I bring this up is that the way I read 5.5.10 is the chief of police may revoke or suspend for a period of up to 30 days an entertainment permit for good cause. And then before that suspension can take place, you have to provide written notice, and then that written notice, after it's been served, you've got 15 calendar days after the service of the notice to request an appeal hearing. So it sounds like we came in pretty heavy with 120 days. It wasn't an immediate suspension, if I understand that correctly. Is that right, the previous one?
If I can clear, the 2021 suspension started off as an immediate suspension.
It was an immediate, thank you.
Started off as an immediate in response to the shooting until we had an opportunity to obtain all the facts. That incident took place on May 22nd. The meeting with the chief took place on June 7th, and then the amended entertainment permit was issued on June 10th. So. Okay. Not even, I don't know, was that 2-3 weeks that it went from an immediate suspension to the amended suspension on June 10th.
Thank you. I appreciate you clarifying that for me. And then, Scott, or can you remind me of your name again, please?
Wiley.
Wiley. Okay, so Wiley, the,
Do I have to? No.
No.
Come on.
Okay, so.
Attorneys are exempt?
As we should be. We always tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Since I won't be testifying, I don't know that I...
Well, because it is a question about process, I don't think that you're just really explaining the law, not going into the facts of the incident. So, the way that I read this, it's a de novo hearing, which basically, if you wouldn't mind explaining that, but the way I understand it is that it's a brand new hearing. It's not like we think, we have to make a decision as to whether the chief of police abused his discretion in any fashion. It's just kind of like, we get a whole new case, all of these facts presented in front of us, and then our options are to permanently revoke the permit. That's one of the options. Reinstate the permit, if we would like to, and then conditionally reinstate the permit or modify the suspension based on the findings that we make as a result of the hearing that we've had today. So I think that it's not just, okay, we can agree with the chief or we can disagree with the chief. We have a whole variety of options available to us. And so I wanted to one, state that and then confirm with you, Wiley, whether that is accurate.
That's a correct understanding.
Okay.
And de novo, as you know, but for the sake of clarification, means you're not required to give deference to whatever findings the department made.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
And hearings like this do not require public comment? No.
You might as well open it up just because it's not for evidentiary purposes, but public comment for the sake of public comment under the Brown Act.
And those giving public comment do not have to be?
They don't need to be sworn in because they're not giving evidence, no.
Okay. Okay, so anyone in the public wishing to comment on this item, not give testimony, but give public comment here present? Anyone on the web?
No.
So we can bring it back to council.
Well, I'm of the opinion that, there hasn't really been a significant, dispute, related to the evidence that was presented tonight by Corporal Hutchison, that, there was, I think perhaps maybe even some affirmation of some of the issues, that the palace has been having in Old Town Clovis. I am surprised that entertainment plays such an important role. So, in what it is that the palace does, and that you just get 2 customers a night or 3 customers a night is seems to be well, at least it is surprising to me. I think that of our options that are available to us in light of what it is that we've heard, I think that the chief has been particularly generous in not permanently revoking the permit in light of the fact that of the incident from 2021, and then compounding that upon what the continued issues have been, and that I'd be leaning more towards permanently revoking the permit, but I know that the chief wants to help. I think our police officers want to help businesses succeed. For whatever reason, it hasn't, the conversations in the past haven't really stuck. And that if I was the owners of the business, I would be particularly intentional about checking every single ID that came through. And if I was the bartender, even if the bouncer had checked it, I'd probably want to check the ID as well, particularly for those who look young. I'm surprised at the lack of knowledge related to what you can do as somebody who is an owner of a business and serving alcohol. You can refuse service to anyone. It just can't be discriminatory. Age discrimination is appropriate in a bar where you have 21 years old. And so if you think that somebody isn't old enough, even if they have what you think is a valid ID, you don't have to serve them that. You can send them out. So that you guys don't know that is problematic to me. It feels as though, despite what had happened in 2021 and the conversations that have taken place since then, there is no ownership of the problems that are taking place there at the palace. So those are some of my comments.
Well, yeah, after listening to everything, I just wanted to hear you address the issue of caring for these minors and the youth a lot more. I wanted to hear you take the issue serious enough, because it is our children, and to not have a policy. I think what disturbed me the most was the security guard. If they knew, then they'll let them in. I think you were so successful. I look at the videos, and you had so many people, and to exclude 10, 15, 20 a night, you would have still been moving, but you would have had to say, you check every single ID. I don't care, their grandpa coming in here with a cane. You got to check. I don't care if they come here 8 nights a week, okay? So it doesn't matter. But to adhere to that, I think shows that what we have shared, or what police have shared, is something very serious, in which you will do your part as a business owner to go, I will not be one who contributes to the concerns of this town, this council, and why they issue these permits. And that's what I wanted to hear. And I wanted to hear you to take ownership of it this evening, because I know that we are a business-friendly town. But when it comes to the safety of our children, and you can still operate a successful business, I think you can do both. And I wanted to be able to hear tonight saying, I did this when they came here, I did this, and I'm going to continue to do it because we've been successful. We want to continue to partner. But I felt like I wasn't assured of that as much as I wanted to be. And so with that, I think I trust that they know, meaning our police officers know when they see an issue in which they don't take lightly to take away the livelihood of someone's business. And because it's serious enough, I have to lean on their opinion and their expertise on seeing that this is something serious enough in which we must uphold the decision of the chief. So that way we can have this time to really boost what you're doing, to increase what you're doing. So that way, you know, we will have a safer business in Old Town. So just wanted to offer my thoughts. That's where I'm leaning right now.
I agree with my colleagues. I think, my comment earlier is, our job is to make sure that Clovis is the safest city in the valley, and that doesn't just mean in our homes, but it means in our businesses and our neighborhoods. So I think we have an obligation to ensure that Old Town is safe. And over the years, I've sat here for a few years, we've had other bars in the same circumstance. And in some ways, it's wildly successful that happens, that people want to come to the bar, but when there's not any guardrails, then it gets to an out-of-control space, and that's, I think, what's happened to you. So there isn't any way that I can see amending the permit. I think we need to uphold it till the end of the year. If you can demonstrate and document that you've attended the training, whatever else is required, you've hired security guards that you know their names, and from this company, and this is what their training is. I mean, I think that's your obligation as a civic business owner in the city of Clovis. So I don't think it's an extraordinary ask. We would ask it of any bar on any given night of the week. So I think that your business will be more successful if Old Town is safe. Old Town, for me, is not a place that I'm really that interested in going when all of that activity is happening. And maybe I'm not the demographic anymore, but I'm not alone that people don't want to go to Old Town because of the out-of-control bar scene when it gets there. And it's gotten there a dozen times or so over the last, maybe 6 times over the last 20 years, where the scene is just too much. So I think your business will do better when Old Town Clovis is safer, and you have a role in that. So I am not open to changing the chief's recommendation. Come back on January 1st, document and demonstrate you have trained staff, you know their names, they're dressed appropriately, you have the right lights, all of that, and then we'll try it again. But I think we need to be accountable to the standards set by ABC and our community to operate the business. That's where I am right now.
I agree with my colleagues too. We care about the children, but too, what they might do afterwards. They're going to drive. What we've discovered in those cases where those 2 kids were killed in our city was they weren't from Fresno. They weren't from Clovis, and the killers weren't from Clovis. They were from out of town, and a lot of your patrons aren't from Clovis. They're coming here to be entertained, and we know that. And it's okay to be entertained in Clovis. We want to provide those venues here in Clovis, but then they go home. And young people going home drunk is not a good formula. You know, they're going to go home, use the freeways, use other major roads, and kill somebody, and kill themselves to boot. And we don't want that. And so I think there's enough evidence to show that those issues that were there before are still there because we don't take care of the problem that was security, the security guards. As business owners, as the holders of the license, the alcohol license, you are responsible for the people that come through your doors. There's no one else, no one else. The license says so. It's in the law. And it's not Clovis PD, it's not ABC. They're the enforcers. They're not the regulators. They're not the ones that will be the ones that tell you how to identify minors and juveniles. That's your job. And as owners of this bar, you got to do everything you can to make sure that, as my colleague Bob Williams says, even if it means rejecting people who are legitimately above age and can drink. But this might be an opportunity. I think the chief has been generous. I too agree with that. that he's not calling for the total, the total suspension of your permit. He says it's a timeout till the end of the year. And you can still play some music. Maybe it's an opportunity to get creative and find a way to entice people to come to your bar. And, you know, it won't be that same demography, but it might be another group that wants the place to be in a nice facility like yours and seek that entertainment, you know, and relax and be there. And maybe in the next few months, that's a new opportunity. It might be a challenge, but it also might be an opportunity. So I'm too of that. I too believe that what the police department has done is just. They know that this is going to be a challenge for you, but they didn't do it so harshly that it's going to totally cripple you. So with that, I'll ask the council.
I'll make a motion that we uphold I lost my piece of paper and my screen went away. Hold on a second. Darn screen. Uphold help me with the language, the current suspension as recommended by the chief of police.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I have 4 ayes and no nays and 1 absent. Thank you all for being here for this item. Okay, we already did number 10. Number 11. Number 11, consider approval, change of council meeting schedule by our city manager, John Holt.
Thank you, Mayor and members of City Council. Staff's recommending the City Council consider the cancellation of the second meeting in October, which is next Monday, October 10th. We were able to consolidate everything to the first and third meeting. That concludes staff's report, and we're available for questions.
Questions for John?
Just a reminder that I will not be here on the October 17th day.
Understood. Thank you.
Meeting day.
Anyone else? Anyone in the audience wishing to comment? Anyone on the web?
No.
Bring it back.
I'll make a motion that, to approve the change of council meeting schedule.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes. So it's 4 ayes, no noes, and an absence. Next on the item is number 12, consider approval, draft letter to support request the ability to conduct interviews for the global entry program at the Fresno Yosemite International Airport. This was an initiative started by Drew, but he's not here, but John will handle it.
Yes, thank you very much. I was going to note that this came up on September 19th when Councilmember Bessinger has asked for us to add it to the agenda. The mayor concurred, and so we went ahead and added it for consideration. The Global Entry Program, I had to do some research on what it is, but basically it is Global Entry is a U.S. Customs and Border Protection Program. The program allows expedited clearance for pre-approved, low-risk travelers upon arrival in the United States. So one way to think about it is, we have the TSA pre-check that most of us are aware of as a national program, and the Global Entry is an international program, primarily when you're coming back from overseas. Currently, there's an interview process that has to go through, and it does take an extended period of time to get the Global Entry, but the interviews are only being conducted in the LA and the Bay Area. So what Councilmember Bessinger was recommending is going to be that the City Council consider providing letters of support that would begin the process to have interviews for the Global Entry Program available at the Fresno International Airport, possibly saving local residents travel cost and time. So staff is recommending the City Council consider approval of some draft letters that we would send to the City of Fresno and elected officials for them to consider moving forward with this. That concludes staff's report, and we're available for questions.
Question for John? Seeing none, I have one. So you mentioned one that is national. Are they two different programs?
The TSA pre-check is It's like a sister to the Global Entry.
Is that available in Fresno already?
TSA, yes.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about that one.
No, TSA PreCheck is good. It's just in a smaller airport like the city of Fresno, it really doesn't do you a whole lot of good. But in some of the larger airports, it really makes a difference.
Okay. Anyone in the public wishing to comment on this item? Anyone on the web?
No.
Bring it back.
I move that we, send the letters of support for the Global Entry Program.
I'll second it.
Yeah, motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
That's 4-0, no nays, and 1 absent. And I gotta go back to my paper. City manager's comments.
I have none.
City council's comments. Vaughn.
Yeah, went to the, state of the county, it was a luncheon, and so Supervisor Pacheco gave the state of the county. It was a good event, and it was very on time. That was helpful. And then also went to the Habitat breakfast the week before then, and so it was good to see the work that Habitat continues to do. And then last one is just, we were in the Home of Hope, the drawing, and one of our staff won. And so, and the husband is a Fresno PD, but she works for IT for PD here. And so it was just exciting for Granville. Appreciate Granville for all their support. They raised $1 million this year, and it's 100% of it goes to the 12 nonprofits, and I think Foundation of Clovis Schools is one of the benefactors. And so I want to thank Granville publicly for their generosity to the community. That's all I have.
I just, a belated thank you to Scott and Glenn and the Public Works team for the sidewalk improvements along Gettysburg Avenue. Super impressive. I think it should be a full-time job to go around and saw down all those cement, but they were really impressive, and thank you, and that pink spray paint is a nice touch. Very attractive. Very nice. But anyway, thank you for taking care of that so quickly. Thanks.
I forgot one more. Can we talk about where media can be for the future? I thought it was very uncomfortable, just him, being right in front of us, and so if we can sort of direct them, going, hey, if you're going to be a camera, be there, whatever, instead of right here in front of us for the future.
We can work on it.
Yeah. I didn't know who it was. So
I'm guessing it was one of the students. I'm not sure, but you know.
I don't know if the council agrees. I just felt like it was distracting.
And if
I've got paparazzi around me all the time. So
yeah. And they're allowed to do what they want unless it distracts from you from conducting business. So if that was the case, we could tell the young man to work with us and place him not right in front of us.
Do they need a name tag, or on TV they have name tags? I'm sure it's real. I believe on Law and Order they have it, and I think that's also real.
Something about the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America.
Well, but to be here with a camera, I think we need to know who you are.
Freedom of the press, you know.
But there is
freedom of speech.
There is one new state law that is going to become effective
guarantees
in January that because of the unruly meetings that have taken place statewide over the past year, that we do have a little bit more teeth if you've been following like what's going on in the Board of Supervisors in the San Diego County, some of those meetings, and they become completely unruly. We can actually take action to have them removed.
And it's for people that claim to be the press?
Not necessarily. It's going to be anybody at a meeting in San Diego. It's just upset constituents, Shasta County, a couple other locations that have had.
Yeah, I agree with that, with freedom of speech kind of stuff and being able to, I mean, there's another, it's all First Amendment stuff, to the grievance against your government, but then there's the freedom of the press. So, yeah, I think That's your job to tell us how much we can do.
Yeah, the Brown Act authorizes anyone. They don't have to be a media member or a credentialed media member to come in and record either audio or video. I mean, anyone could show up at a council meeting and record from their seat or wherever. I know typically we've had him over in the corner. I thought this time it was only because his camera was a little less high-tech than the ones I've seen where they've been recording from across the chambers. But absolutely, if we're uncomfortable with where they're located, we can set up a spot for them to do it. We just can't prohibit them from doing it.
Then you're still, hold on, you're done? I don't think I have anything that I can. So next item, closed sessions. And, as printed on our agenda, will we have anything to report?
We are not asking for any action that would need to be reported tonight.
Okay. And we won't meet until the 17th after that. Oh, shit.